Is there a certain date that we got to put on it? Okay. I'll just look at the
I don't know. That's just a declare you don't want. Everybody trying to take that from me. You got two here. Okay. Here's your fancy right there. Let's see, you figure that out and it's fancy for you. Let's see.
That here.
Down.
Nobody wait. On board with me.
City Administrator. It's 5:30.
Okay. You need to go here and pull it.
Okay, welcome everyone. It's 5:30. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Selectmen this December 12, 2017. We do have a quorum. We're expecting Selectman Brock to teleconference in. And are you here, sir? All right, Selectman Brock is here in teleconference. We'll begin. Remind everyone to please turn off cell phones. And if we will, Selectman Kinsey, would you open with prayer?
I will. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I want to first of all to give you thanks for all that we have. I want to give thanks for all the employees of the city and the great job they do, and all the people in public safety and the great job they've done recently. To send upon this group present your divine wisdom and guidance, so we make wise and good decisions for this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. First off, I'd like to motion to amend the addendum to add 3 additional items. We have an advertisement for a vacancy on one of our boards. We have rejecting bids on the sports park, fields 3 and 4, ball field lighting, and also comments from Selectman Eubanks regarding the storm. So I have a motion to amend the agenda, add 3 additional items. Is there a second?
Second.
Selectman Tullis for the second. We'll call by vote to amend the agenda. Selectman Brock, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Selectman Hill?
Aye.
Selectman
Aye.
McKenzie? Selectman
Aye.
Tullis? Selectman Cameron?
Aye.
Selectman Eubanks? Aye. Okay. That was unanimous. We will consider these toward the end of the docket. Everyone should have, before I begin, I get into it, I wanted to bring you some information about Robert's Rules of Order. You know, several board meetings back, we adopted Robert's Rules of Order version 11. So you all have a copy of this information. Ms. Clerk, is that correct? They got sheets, and you'll find sheet 97. And I just read a couple of things. We are a public body, and our bodies are open to the public. Some bodies, especially public ones, may invite non-members to express their views, but this is done under the control of the presiding officer, subject to any relevant rules adopted by the body and subject to appeal by a member. Often by rule or practice, time limits are placed on speakers, and relevance is closely monitored. And so I did attach, this is our board meeting request form, and you come to the city, make requests, states the subject matter, and you will have 3 minutes to speak, and you sign. All right. The page 644. Principles governing discipline at meetings. A society has the right to determine who may be present at its meetings and to control its hall while meetings are in progress. A little further along, non-members, on the other hand, or a particular non-member or group of non-members can be excluded at any time from part or all part of a meeting of society, or from all of its meetings. Such exclusions can be effected by a ruling of the chair in cases of disorder, or by the adoption of a rule on the subject, or by appropriate motion as the need arises. A motion of the latter nature being a question of privilege. And it goes on, a motion to exclude members except absolutely necessary staff, if any, is often referred to as going into executive session. All persons present at meetings have an obligation to obey the legitimate orders of the presiding officer. Members, however, can appeal the decision of the chair. Further on, in dealing with any case of disorder in meeting, the presiding officer should always maintain a calm, deliberate tone, although he may become increasingly firm as the situation demands it. Rolling on, if you would, just to page 648. Protection from annoyance by non-members in a meeting. Removal of an offender from the hall. Any non-members allowed in the hall during a meeting as guests of the organization have no rights with reference to the proceedings. An assembly has the right to protect itself from annoyance by non-members, and its full authority in this regard, as distinguished from cases involving disorderly members, can be exercised by the chair acting alone. The chair has the power to require non-members to leave the hall or to order their removal at any time during the meeting, and non-members have no right of appeal from such an order from the presiding officer. However, such an order may be appealed by a member. That appeal is undebatable. Further on, a person, whether a member of the assembly or not, refuses to obey the order of the proper authority to leave the hall during a meeting, the chair should take necessary measures to see to that order is enforced. And then I just, on 43, just to conclude, just if you look on 43, a member who desires to speak in debate, we're members, must obtain the floor, as described on pages 29 and 31. The chair in assigning the floor should be guided by the principles explained in the same pages. In debate, each member has the right to speak twice on the same question on the same day, but that cannot make a second speech on the same question so long as any member who has not spoken on the occasion desires the floor. A member who has spoken twice on a particular question on the same day has exhausted his right to debate that question for that day. Without the permission of the assembly, no one can speak longer than permitted by the rules of the body, or in a non-legislative assembly that has no rules, longer than 10 minutes. Debate must be confined to the merits of the pending questions. Speaker must address their remarks to the chair, maintain a courteous tone, and especially in reference to any divergence of opinion, should avoid injecting a personal note into the debate. To this end, they must never attack or make an allusion to the motives of members. As already noted, speakers should refer to officers only by title and should avoid the mention of others' names as much as possible. Now, Board, you adopted Robert's Rules of Order, version 11. Presiding officers required to follow, and these are just things that I just thought appropriate to bring up and read to you just to illustrate what we're trying to accomplish in these meetings and how we try to, why we do the things we do as the chair. All right. We move to the consent docket agenda. And without objection, I would suggest that we approve. Are there objections to the consent docket? Without a
Question.
yes. Selectman Brock, yes, sir.
Question I do have is the special call meeting minutes.
Yes.
Where would they be in this house?
They'll be with the next docket, Selectman Brock. They'll be with the next docket to approve.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on the consent docket? Without objection, the consent docket has been approved. Next, we move to employee recognition. We have Lester Butler, who served 20 years in the Department of Public Works as a crew leader, and he is absent tonight. Is that correct, Public Works?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But we do have Damon L. Green recognized today for 20 years of service with the city. He's in the Department of Public Safety, Fire Division, Logistics. And Mr. Green, would you come forward along with Chief Gary McKenzie? Damon Green is a fire investigator, and he also works as the Homeland Security Logistics Coordinator for the city of McComb. He's the Department of Division, Public Safety, Fire Department. He employed with the city December 24th, 1997. He is single. He has 3 children. He is a graduate of North Pike High School with further college education. He came to the city of Macomb in 1997 as a probationary firefighter and has worked up through the ranks to now the title of fire investigator. Other pastimes, he just likes to work. Chief McKenzie, you and Gary have, Mr. Green have probably known each other for quite a long time.
Yes, sir. Of course, he was actually here when I came, and shortly thereafter he transitioned into doing the Homeland Security work. He's been absolutely invaluable to the city, dealing with the grants. He's secured a lot of federal and state grants for the department and for the city. Does a tremendous job for us in the logistics. He is the logistics officer for the entire state of Mississippi for Homeland Security. And he's also my dive partner on our dive rescue team. So, and on at least one occasion, he has saved my life. This is true. So we're very proud to have Damon with us, and hopefully he's going to stay with us for quite a few long years.
That's right. Well, Damon, would you like to speak to your public?
Just appreciate the opportunity to work for the city and enjoy what I do.
Well, Damon, the city has this certificate of appreciation presented to Damon L. Green in recognition and appreciation of loyal and valuable service to the city of Macomb. Our best wishes and heartfelt thanks accompany this expression of gratitude for 20 years in the Department of Public Safety, Fire Division, Logistics, this December 24, 2017. Thank you, sir, very much, sir. Valuable experience for 20 years and quite a recognition handling the statewide logistics.
All right, go to number 3. 1, 2, and 3.
Yes,
Mayor, Damon Green helped me on the missing persons, and I want to just say thank you on the knowledge and professionalism and what he can do just like that for people in this area.
thank you, sir.
Nationwide, there are, in the search and rescue field, there are specialists in probable search theory, which is the latest technology and methods, very effective. West of the Mississippi River, there are probably only 24 of these specialists. The state of Mississippi has 26. Damon is one of them. He is also one of the instructors. So he is, he's a very valuable asset, not only for the citizens of Macomb, but across the state.
We share Damon with the rest of the state and others as well, I'm sure. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Selectman McKinney. Okay, we have receiving an update from Steve Cox regarding the roofing project. And Mr. Cox, I know that we've got a current project ongoing, and but I know that Selectman Brock, who's here, had special interest in the Martin Luther King Center.
Yes, sir.
And so I hope you would address that in your comments.
All right, I'll be glad y'all address that first then. The Cornell Malone Roofing is the one that did the Martin Luther King Center, and it is under warranty, and they've come and patched it once, and it continued to leak, and when I got word of that, I contacted them, and I think it was last Monday, they did come back, and I had an idea of where the leak was, and I talked with the man on the phone. I didn't get to go over there and meet with him, but they did take care of these leaks, and they actually sent us a report that I forwarded on to Mr. Butler with some photographs and some discussion about it was some flashing. It's an odd roof where you've got a shingle roof that rides up on top of another shingle roof, and flashing right there where they connect is where the issue seemed to be. It comes in, and that building, that shingle roof is on top of an old flat roof. So it came in and then went 20 or 30 feet before it came through the lower roof, but I believe they've got it repaired, but if somebody will let me know if it remains an issue.
I'm sure you'll hear if it remains an issue.
I'm sure I will.
You got that, Selectman Brock?
I sure did.
Okay. Okay.
And the ongoing roof project is going very well. We have most of the work has been completed. The fire station number 3, the shed that we're increasing the height of, that's taken a little extra time because first I had to develop some design drawings to accommodate extending the height of the roof 3 feet, and then get that to the contractor, and they had to get prices, get that to me, and we had to negotiate and haggle, and it is underway as far as they have. It's approved, and they will be submitting design drawings because it's metal building, pre-engineered metal building components that we're putting there on probably about half of that shed, the east half, and they'll have, I think it's 4 bays that will be taller, and they're about 18, 19 foot wide bays that will have that higher roof. And so that won't, it's going to be still 6 weeks or so before we have material on the ground, and by then I think everything will be done. The animal shelter, we have some interior work that we're looking at doing and will be doing soon. Fire station number 1, which is this one downtown, most of it's been done, but there's some work on that tower. That stairwell has some leaks in it, and we're going to work on the flashing behind that tower, and actually do some tuck pointing with the mortar in between the bricks on that tall part to try to ameliorate that issue. And that hasn't been done. Boys and Girls Club, we've got some asphalt repair that's pending to be done, and then some other miscellaneous. There's still working on the police station. The main roof is done, but it's detail work that's still needs to be done on some of the buildings, but most of it is complete. Okay.
All right, and we have how far, and as far as payment schedule with Sullivan, where?
I mean, they submit their monthly pay applications.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly where we are on the pay applications, but I approve them, and everything's going smoothly. So it's a good project. I've been very pleased with Sullivan Enterprises. Their superintendent, Carol Bryant, has done an excellent job. She's very detail-oriented, which helps me to do my job. So it's going well.
Thank you very much, Selectman Hill.
Yes, Mr. Cox. Do any of these projects have deadlines? Or is it just finished when they're finished?
Well, the overall project has a deadline. Now, with some of these changes, they've requested additional time, and I haven't even looked at where we are on the deadlines. I don't think that the city has been inconvenienced any great amount that I'm aware of. I haven't heard any kind of criticism as far as the timing, and they have gotten this job done on a really very good schedule.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Cox.
Okay. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
All right, next. Yes, sir.
Is there any reason that the podium is in the middle of the viewing area for the audience? Should it be back over?
I moved it over. I'm sorry.
Mr. Bryce is here from Receivable Solutions Specialist, and to give us an update on municipal court fine collections. Mr. Bryce. And you have a handout, I believe, that Mr. Bryce has submitted through the court system. Would this be correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Selectman McKenzie handed me, helped me pass that out.
All right.
So I didn't do it properly early enough, but it's the same information. My name is Bruce Bryce. I'm from Receivable Solutions Specialist, Inc. in Natchez, Mississippi. Appreciate the Board of Selectmen, Honorable Board of Selectmen, and Mayor Rollins entertaining me for a few minutes here tonight. For several years, I've been your agent for collections of receivables for your McComb Municipal Court and your McComb Water Department. The McComb Municipal Court, of course, being a little bit bigger, receivables is due. So I wanted to come in and give you just a brief update on that. We've typically been pricing about twice a year.
Would you speak your volume a little bit higher, please?
Yes.
Bryce, thank you.
Can you hear me now? It would be municipal court. We've recently been receiving, on average, placements twice a year. I got one in May of 2017 that represented like 446 accounts for $176,860. Just a few days ago, I spoke with Ms. Wells, and we decided to do another download, which was approximately the same amount, maybe about 100 more accounts with the approximate same dollar amount. I think that overall, our collection percentage for this type of business is above the industry average. It looks like that we've been knocking on 30% recovery since we started. Of course, those things that you gave us early on, we've had more time to locate those people, find the people that are going to pay in full, or find those people that we need to set up reasonable repayment plans with because of their short-term unfortunate circumstance or unemployment, or they could be on that federal assistance income. Therefore, regardless of the bill size, we have to be reasonable in working out an agreement that will get it paid out in the quickest amount of time possible. Please remember that all of this is at no cost to the municipality. This is all a free service that is a virtue of the state statute that allows us to add our little bit of collection fees on top of the amount that's owed to you in both the municipal court and the water association, because any bill owed to a state, county, or municipality carries no statute of limitations, either collection statute or civil statute. And what I mean to that, it's owed to a public entity. So we consider it a not-for-profit organization, different from for example, DKY Jewelers. Had they sent an account for me to collect, and it was over 3 years old, and I could not take that person to court to obtain a judgment to garnish or put a lien on his property, because that was a for-profit business. You are not. Therefore, there is no statute of limitations, which is a good thing for you. We've instigated some new technology just here toward the end of the year. And I'll just say that my New Year's resolution up front on camera, I suppose, is to increase our percentage recovery for you guys, at least 2 or 3%, if not more. I feel like I have a personal obligation on a lot of you personally here. You have the faith and trust placed in me to operate honestly, which I think I've done and effectively, and helping the municipality recover dollars that it would not have otherwise seen, nor have the personnel to collect. And we have a very good working relationship. I'd like to compliment your support staff here at City Hall, from the city clerk to Ms. Janice Dillon, who I'm glad to see back, to Sonia Wells, to Vicki Kaufman, who I have a working relationship with also. So being personal and being responsive to a single problem has been very effective. So we work together effectively. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to entertain that for you. My new technology this year is, instead of manual skip tracing, where I usually have my collectors go in and manually log into a site and skip one account at a time, I'm now able to do that through a batch process, which means I can pick a whole client be it the entire municipal court or the entire water system, and run all of those accounts through my skip tracing module and outsourced module at one time, and get all those results back and import it at one time, which gives me much faster access to get addresses and phone numbers, theoretically. So that's in process. So far, it seems to be working well. I'm getting a lot more callbacks on our auto dialer, which basically is a business dialer. It calls out and leaves a message. You have an important business call. Please return the call to our office so we can help you. We do act as credit consultants in selling a paid-in-full receipt and assisting somebody to regain their worthy credit status, and trying to explain to them the importance of paying past-due debts so that they can qualify for mortgages, or they can qualify for credit cards at more favorable interest rates that over the months and years will save them thousands compared to the few $100s they may owe the municipality and refuse to pay. I do believe, in closing, that we probably do need to set a little precedent here on some of the larger accounts and some of both of these departments. I think we need to set a precedent of a little judicial action where we find an account that is what I call judgment worthy. In other words, the person has an interest, earnest in the property, owns the property, has a gainfully employed job that is above the federal garnishment standards, that we should be filing a few suits. And I think in a town like this, that's with your permission, the board's permission, and your permission, Mr. Mayor, that we do this selectively on those right kinds of debtors, that this is a small enough town, much like Natchez is, so that the word will get around, and it will have an overall spillover benefit, not only in cutting your upfront collections, but in collecting those that are outstanding now. I'm open to any questions that anybody might have.
All right, board, would anybody have a question or comment directed to Mr. Bryce? All right, thank you, Mr. Selectman McKenzie.
I don't have a question for him. My request last meeting was not necessarily collections, it was all this, the trend that we have of unpaid bills from municipal court, and what's causing that. I mean, it's not anything we're going to get solved here tonight, but we looked at that report we had, and it's just a steady trend. Are we doing something different in court? Is this something the judge could do different? Is this something how we handle court different? Because the trend is showing it's just growing.
He has a recovery rate of, what do you say, 30%?
Close to 30%.
So it's going to grow.
And I have not seen a marked change in the past 6 months in the number of accounts, nor the dollar amount that is being placed with me. That is, as of 6 months ago when I had a placement, and the placement I had yesterday, there may be a difference of 150 accounts more, and a smaller dollar amount. It doesn't reflect on this 12-month recovery report, because it has to take into account the month. This goes on a calendar month end, and so I'll probably load these accounts before the end of November. Therefore, they don't show up because they were not in my system as of November the 30th, because what the last day of November was. So you'll see next time around 30 days, that placement will show up. And this particular report shows you the collections back toward the placement when it was placed. If you'll see the last placement in May of 2017, there was 446 accounts. I'm only doing 1.3 recovery so far on it because I've only had 5 months to collect it. But if you look at all that old stuff, you see the recovery rate's 29.3. That means I've had more time to collect it, more time to find it, more time to set up those payment arrangements, and more time to get money under our belt. Not just arrangements, I'm going for payment in full when we can.
Sure.
But I'm trying to make rational and logical decisions based on somebody's real ability to pay.
So McKenzie, the clerk and I will get together with the city administrator and Ms. Wells and try to burrow down into the numbers and try to get you some data. Selectman Hill.
Yes, sir. Can you, Mr.
Right.
Bryce, that's right, excuse me.
That's okay.
Yes, sir. Could you give me a start date on the, beginning from the previous? Because it's a significant jump between 6,367 to 446.
Yes, this is just a 12-month recovery report. It only goes back to 12 months. Everything else is previous. I would have to go back and dig you out. I could certainly supply to you via spreadsheet each placement, the amount of each placement. And I do that with what's called an acknowledgement to the clerk of court every time a placement is made. But unfortunately, my reporting system in this synopsized summary will only give you 12 months and 12 months back. However, that is information that is very important. I can go dig out and provide for you. Just let me know that.
If I wouldn't have thought of it, I would have been thinking, okay, he's going to find over 5,000 other accounts in 6 months.
Yeah, that's true, but if you look in previous, you've got to understand also that by Mississippi law, once somebody goes to the municipal court, they don't disappear.
Right.
Even if they're deceased, or even if they move to Cincinnati and don't have a home address or are employed or become indigent or on disability, that number's always going to stay there, and so is that dollar amount on your books. That's something you can't write off.
Yes, ma'am. And my question comes from the 29%. I would like to know what time frame did you start to get to the 29%?
Yes, sir.
And also the bottom line, is that the average percent?
Yeah, so that's when you add in the most latest placement of May.
Okay.
Hadn't had very much time to collect on it, so it's at 1.9. So don't think in the morning I won't be going to my court collectors and saying, hey, you see this May? It don't look good to me, and it didn't look good to me.
Okay.
So let's get something going here.
Appreciate it, Mr. Bryce.
Something covered.
Just a few minutes back, or a few seconds back, you said something about arrangement and paid in full. Can you explain the difference in making an arrangement with someone and paid in full?
Well, sure. Of course, these tickets or fines from Justice Court are due in full at the time that they're placed, just like most bills are when the service is rendered. However, when I say making payment arrangements, that's not my first choice. All of my people are very highly trained in Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, Telephone Collection Practices Act, HIPAA now, because we deal with a lot of healthcare. Even this information is private information. It's a bill. I can't put that in front of anybody's eyes. The Telephone Collection Practices Act, the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, as well as the Federal Trade Commission. So I'm walking through all sorts of, I'm not going to say difficult because they're reasonable and I've always abided by them, but there's a very stringent set of rules about who you can and can't talk to and what you can do concerning a debt. The difference is, yes, we always ask for payment in full, and of course, it's built into the system there because my fee is tacked on top. The state allows it, so the more I collect, the quicker I get paid, just like you do. So my incentive is built skin to skin with yours, so to speak. It's exactly with yours. However, I've got to be realistic in today's world. I may call somebody that's got just hypothetically a DUI, maybe a first offense, and they're on disability, and they only get $1,300 a month. I've got to take the reality that he may not be able to come up with that $1,300 all at one time.
Right.
So I may have to negotiate a plan that's most advantageous based on what I consider open questions to ascertain an asset profile of an individual and honest answers coming back. What's reasonable to get this paid up in the quickest amount of time?
Do you make arrangements for less than paid in full?
Well, of course, paid in full, they paid the debt in full.
Right.
Take an example, somebody owes $1,000 court fine. I called them, you owe $1,000 court fine, your license suspended. You could be on threat going on a notice for possibly going to jail, being picked up for owing a fine that's past due. That's just the truth. And a pay in full would be, okay, here's my credit card, or here, I'm sending you a check, money order, certified check for $1,000. That's paid in full. But if he said, hey, look, man, I know I've had that, and I appreciate it, but I'm unemployed right now. I only get disability, I only get unemployment. I'm only getting this much a week or every 2 weeks. Can I pay you $200 a month till I get it paid out? I'm gonna think about whether he's telling me the truth or not. And if I feel he's telling me the truth, I'm gonna take the $200, because money in hands worth nothing in the bush.
Gotcha.
You sound the same?
Can you please?
Selectman Eubanks.
His name is Cameron too. All right,
Cameron
can you
Hall.
please?
Sound. All right, Ms. Holman. Selectman Hill, yes, sir.
Mr. Bryce, how long does it cycle in the municipal court before your services pick it up? How long does the account cycle in the municipal court before your services pick up the account?
That's a good question. Sonia might have to help me answer that. I don't know the average day. It's certainly more than 6 months old when it gets to me, because they have their process of having to set up a court date. If there's a rescheduled court date, if a person has an attorney, it has to go through the whole judicial process. They send so many letters from the city court. Whatever collection processes are set up at the city municipal court before it's deemed bad debt, before it would ever come to me. So it's quite old when it gets to it. 180 days or older. Probably quite older.
Thank you, Mr. Bryce.
That it? All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for letting me be here tonight. Enjoyed seeing you all again. Okay. We have, now we have public comments, and I'll remind those speaking to the board that you'll have 3 minutes to address the board, and make sure that when you address the board, you're addressing the board of mayor and selectmen. You're not to call out attention to any one selectman or to the mayor. Mr. Cullen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to voice my grievance to you people. And I, too, have provided a handout, and I have a synopsis of that handout will explain the various details of the issue that I would like to address. And briefly, I'll state it here. Basically, what I'm saying is that I'm complaining that the Department of Zoning and Inspection does not effectively enforce certain provisions of the zoning ordinances, particularly the R80 zone ordinances as they apply in the Westover State area. Essentially, I filed a formal complaint in August, stating the particulars of what the violations were, and I asked the inspection department to go out and look at the thing and effect some type of abatement. And they did go out and they inspected it, and by the 5th of September they completed their inspection, and essentially nothing has been changed. Not one citation has been issued. They have never established a time certain for the abatement of any of the pending actions, and they have never assessed any damages or penalties to encourage the enforcement of the abatement. So basically, what we're asking for is for someone in the government authority to see that all the laws are enforced, every one of them, particularly those ones now that we have addressed here in the R80 zone in Westover Estates. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
Mr. Cullen, we have your information that you attached, and I think it's very detailed. Give us a chance to digest this material.
Yes.
And then I'll make a phone call. How's that? to you.
That'll be fine, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And if any others have comments, certainly reach out to the mayor. Selectman Brock. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Cutler.
Ask the gentleman, individual phone number, did I start, please?
It's on the attachment. You'll have it in your box. Selectman Cameron.
We have another copy of this.
We can get you another copy. All right. Next, we have Devontae Johnson regarding the people's government. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm coming before the board. I'm really glad to hear that you reread the Robert Rules of Order. I'm here because we are the public. We elect each and every last one of you who sits across this table. We have made several requests to this board about putting a multi-purpose recreational facility, let's just make this clear, the Martin Luther King Gym, back in its original location at the Martin Luther King Center. That request has been denied several times by this board for various reasons. Previous board meeting, we had a speaker to address the Board of Mayor and Selectmen, and things got a little heated, and others have their opinion of it. And the presiding officer, since we're not allowed to address people here, asked for everyone to be excluded from the meeting except for officers of the city. Now, in my opinion, but I'm not an expert of the law, I think that's why we've hired this fine gentleman sitting right there to give legal advice to this board. The public outcry that came was because of an inappropriate comment made by a sitting selectman. Previously, a sitting selectman made a derogatory comment to a selectman, and the chair of this board at the next board meeting came back and condemned such language. As of now, the language and the behavior that was displayed by a sitting selectman has not been condemned by the presiding officer. If I had time, I would go through several of occasions where the presiding officer has been kind of biased with what he chooses to condemn. I feel that if the presiding officer is going to preside over meetings, and if this board is going to conduct business around this table, I think that the citizens who come here to actively engage in our democracy should be treated with the utmost respect, which did not happen on last week. We were asked to leave because we responded to what we considered something that was inappropriate, and we were condemned. Police were asked to escort us out of here when the person who caused the outcry was not escorted out. So I would ask for the chair to first apologize to the public for the behavior that you displayed toward us, and to condemn the words and the language of a sitting selectman asking a citizen, do they still sell drugs? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next we have Mr. Michael W. Sandifer, Children's Safety.
Mr. Mayor, Selectmen.
Yes, sir.
City Administrator, City Attorney, good evening. Before said, my name is Michael W. Sandifer. I'm from Ward 3, a homeowner for 24 years, and have been I think, a pretty good citizen there. What I want to talk to you tonight is about children's safety. I did some research, and research shows that when children have a place to go and something to do, their safety go up dramatically. And I want to ask the selectmen and mayor to reconsider rebuilding the Martin Luther King Center for that purpose. And it wouldn't just be for shooting basketball and volleyball and things of that nature. This is, you know, to help the impoverished children in our neighborhood. I know it's been on the agenda several times, and I know every time it's been voted down, but I'm asking that it will be reconsidered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. All right, item number 9, I would move that we would consider adopting a resolution appointing Daniel Moore as a probationary police officer for the police division in the Department of Public Safety in a probationary status, effective December 15th, 2017. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Selectman Tullis and Selectman Cameron. I have noticed in the audience that Daniel Moore is here, and Chief Norseman, have you got this?
Yes, sir.
Would you step forward with Daniel Moore and introduce Daniel? Of course, he comes, we probably got an idea who this young man is.
I don't, or
I
y'all?
said we do. We probably have an idea who he is. He's
Mr.
the
Moore,
firefighter.
his father is here tonight as well. He's already a city employee. He's just going to come to us from a different department. And quite frankly, I haven't spoke to him about this move. He spoke with other people. We've had an opportunity to speak tonight, but Mr. Moore, he'll go to the academy sometime in January. He and the other gentleman tonight, if everything goes good.
And Mr. Moore, you have family here with you?
Yes, sir. My mom and dad.
Would you like to stand and be recognized, Mom and Dad? All right. And Daniel Moore is currently a firefighter in the city of McComb. Came on maybe a year ago?
February would make 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Board, Selectman Hill.
Thank you, man. This is your first time hearing about it. This is your first time speaking to him.
Speaking to him, I've known
You
about
know about it. Okay, so he has went through the proper channels.
Oh, yes.
Okay, great.
Selectman Eubanks, you got a question for him?
Thank you. As a firefighter, you know I'm keen on smoking in cars. I'm keen. So you gonna take care of that rule?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You can just keep it on. You might call back.
Well, he can't call back. All right, let me just hold 1 second, folks. If you,
You can't call back, man. You can't.
You're the host.
he can call back to it. He can call back in. All right. Well, I'll be listening out. Well, Selectman Rock has left the meeting, and so we have a motion and second before us to consider appointing Daniel Moore as a probationary police officer. Board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Moore. And that's effective December 15th, so that's coming up Friday. Okay. And how quick does he get to go to the academy, sir?
January.
January 2018.
Yes, sir.
That's mighty fine. All right, then item 10, I move to consider adopting a resolution appointing Kalen Cole, is that correct? Kalen? As a probationary police officer for the police division in the Department of Public Safety in a probationary status effective December 15th, 2017. Is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Selectman Tullis, I heard you for the motion. Selectman Cameron for the second. Chief Norton, would you introduce the board to Mr.
You've heard Mr. Cole, and he's here from the fire department as well. That's why we set up all this tonight. We knew Chief McKenzie was going to be here, and we didn't want any trouble for his men coming over to our meeting. I'm playing. This will be the third firefighter that thinks he wants to be a police officer, but we'll see come January.
All right.
He's wanted to do it all his life. We've had an opportunity to speak back there. I haven't spoken to him either prior to tonight.
Mr. Cole, do you have family here?
I do not.
Would you like to speak to the board about becoming a police officer?
I appreciate the opportunities I've been given.
I look forward to it. All right. Senator Brock, you back with us? All right. We're on item number 10, considering appointing Kalen Cole as a probationary police officer. Do you have any questions, sir? Selectman Eubanks.
Mr. Cole?
Coyle.
Cole?
Yes, sir.
The reason I'm always saying something about children smoking in vehicles is because those children are basically encapsulated in a car, and they're getting secondhand smoke, which causes more cancer than even firsthand smoke. And especially in the child, because you have emphysema, you have lung diseases, you have all those issues with those not developed lungs. And so, I don't care if grown folks can smoke till their head fall off, but I don't want them smoking in a car with a child who doesn't have a choice whether to leave the vehicle or to stay in the vehicle. And, so that it's for everyone, not just you. I just thought about it when I was here. But that's the reason why that this city voted to eliminate that problem, because we're trying to look out for the children, not stopping old folks from smoking, because it tells you right on the packet to kill you. Now, if you want to continue to smoke, that's your problem, but not the children. So that's why this board voted to put that in place, that ordinance in place for the vehicles, because those children, in the wintertime, the windows are up, and they're smoking just like they're smoking. So that's the reason why that we chose to look out for the children as of this city. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Cole? Then you're ready to vote. Selectman Brock, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Selectman Hill?
Aye.
Selectman McKinney? Aye. Selectman Tullis?
Aye.
Selectman Cameron?
Aye.
Selectman Eubanks? Aye. The vote is unanimous in favor. Aye. You have been appointed as a probationary police officer. December 15th.
Yes.
Good luck to you in the academy.
Before you move on, I do have a question. It's quite serious, because I do remember what Brother Johnson was talking about when I had made a derogatory comment to Selectman McKenzie. You did come in here and read a 3-page statement. I think that the gentleman is here, the public is here. Are you actually going to address what happened at the last board meeting? Because it was quite disrespectful.
I think that...
I mean, because you see, I don't know if he's going to leave or not, or if his family here, or the people that was here last
will not.
week.
I will not.
We will not address it.
Thank you. All right, we move on to item number 11.
I just want to be clear about I just want to be clear about the unfairness of how you said you want fairness around the board and how it's delivered. I just want to be clear before anybody left the room about the disrespect that not just given from Selectman Hill, but other selectmen around this table to our public. Now, I never disrespected a citizen, but we have board members that have disrespected citizens, including you, and it hasn't been properly addressed the same way that you guys properly address other people that of the opposite race, that I'll be frank about it. And I think that it's very distasteful that our mayor and our chairman of this board did not address the comment that Selectman Cameron gave to a citizen about his past.
Thank you, sir.
I think that you should, but if you choose not to, then that's definitely a choice.
Thank you, sir. All right. Selectman Brock, did you have something to say, sir? We appointed Kalen Cole as a...
Yes, Selectman. Go ahead.
We appointed Kalen Cole, probationary police officer, and there was comments from Selectman Hill regarding to the chair about his not making what he felt like the mayor should make a public apology. So that was what that was all about. We're moving on to item number 11. I move to consider receiving a $700 grant from the Humane Society of the U.S. to be used for expenses related to transporting animals. Is there a motion and a second? So moved. Selectman Tullis.
Second.
Selectman Cameron. And Ms. Lumbus is here. She came to us at the last meeting, told us about moving animals to Michigan. It was going to cost $700, and she promised us that she told us that she had a grant money coming to reimburse the city. The animals have gone, I do believe.
No, sir. The animals are going to leave on Monday.
Okay.
We have 20 dogs leaving on Monday, so that's exceptional for us. We have $700 that will be coming to the city as a grant for HSUS. that will help us with the additional health certificate requirements. They require different sets of vaccinations and stuff like that, a little bit more involved for going into Michigan than some of the other states we send to. So we had to purchase additional things that we don't normally do, so that will help us with that, plus towards the travel expenses of getting them to Michigan and back.
Very good. Well, I appreciate your work on this, and this, of course, this frees up space at our kennel for
Absolutely.
more animals to come.
Absolutely.
All right, we have a motion before us. Any further discussion on this matter? Ready to vote? How do you vote, Selectman Brock? Selectman Hill? Selectman McKenzie?
Aye.
Selectman Tullis?
Aye.
Selectman Cameron?
Aye.
Selectman Eubanks?
Aye.
The vote was unanimous. We approved the receiving the $700 grant. Thank you, Ms. Lummis.
Thank you.
Item 12, move to consider receiving a check in the amount of $30 from Supermarket Operations, Inc. This is the McComb Market. This is through their Smart Shopper Stamp Program, to be deposited into Fund 001-110770, Other Equipment, for the purpose of purchasing miscellaneous equipment for the Police Division, and further authorize a budget amendment for said amount. Could I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Selectman Tullis.
Second.
Selectman McKenzie. Discussion on item 12. Vote. How do you vote, Selectman Brock?
Aye.
Selectman Hill?
Aye.
Selectman
Aye.
McKenzie? Selectman Tullis?
Aye.
Selectman Cameron?
Aye.
Selectman Eubanks? Vote was unanimous. We approve the $30 receipt from Supermarket Operations. Item 13, I move to consider declaring vehicles 5882 and 5512 as rubbish and removed from inventory due